flickering now, showing that it's charging. So you can still continue to use the monitor, charge the internal battery, and run it off mains simultaneously. So, next thing I'd like to show you is the on-screen display. It has a standard menu. The features include brightness, contrast, saturation, tint, the on-screen display position, a system reset, colour temperature, so you can set preset temperatures, red, green and blue settings to enhance certain colours, and language settings. Now, there are additional functions such as flip horizontally and flip vertically. These can be accessed in the service menu, which is accessed this way. If you switch the monitor off by pressing the standby button, and then hold down the standby button again while the monitor is on standby mode, hold down this button for about 6 seconds. Then release the button, and then press the standby button once more just to switch it on, and a basic menu should appear on the screen. The first page shows you a list of all the different languages that are enabled. So on this unit, English is enabled, and also Chinese is enabled. I'll disable Chinese just to only allow English. Then to progress through the service menu, just press the menu button here, and the next page appears. These are different channels enabled on the monitor. So VGA mode, because there's no VGA on this monitor, that's disabled as default. DVI mode is also disabled. You can enable this if you like. DVI, because it can also run through an HDMI, you can also use it this way, but most customers just prefer to disable it to keep it the few channels the better. Composite Video 1 is enabled, Composite Video 2 is enabled, which are using the BNC composite connections on the back. You also have S-Video is disabled because there's no S-Video input on this monitor. TV is disabled because there's no TV tuner on this monitor. HDMI is enabled, again because this is the main input. Component video is also enabled, which is going through the RGB on the RCA connections on the back. And finally, default source switch is set to on HDMI, and the default source is HDMI. Essentially, this means the default channel, as soon as the monitor receives power, switch on to the HDMI channel by default. So you can see here, you can change that if you want it to switch on to component by default, set to component. Or if you want to go to TV, or video 1, video 2, but we'll set it as HDMI standard. So that's the auto power on function. Again, we finished that page, let's press menu to go to the next page. Here, power state 2 means the power settings, so when the monitor receives power, automatically switch on, and 2 means that as soon as the monitor receives power, switch on straight away. So the user doesn't have to press the standby button every time to switch it on. X and Y, these are important for a lot of customers. These are both enabled on this monitor by default, but they're not enabled on all monitors. You may need to check this on your individual 668. Both of these are set to on. This means flip X, flip Y. So for example, if customers want to flip the monitor upside down, it can easily be done, which I'll show you shortly. Widescreen, it's 16:9 aspect ratio is set to on, and internal sound. So because HDMI also receives sound and video, the sound, any sound will be played through the built-in speakers on the monitor. So press menu one more time, and that should hide the service menu for good. Oh, sorry, last page. You've also got a logo switch and logo details, which you don't need to worry about. So press menu again, and the menu will disappear. So next time you press menu, you'll just bring on the default menu. And if you scroll through these options, again, contrast, saturation, tint. If we scroll all the way down to miscellaneous, and set that to yes, you can see here there's a few more options. So left to right, yes or no, up down, yes or no, and display mode widescreen or 4:3. So if I set left to right, it flips the image, and if I set up down to no, you can see it's flipped the monitor upside down. This feature is useful for customers who are looking to mount their monitor in slightly different angles, where they may need to use the 1/4" British Standard width thread at the top rather than on the bottom. Also, it might be useful for teleprompting systems where the customer is inverting the image on here, so it can, on the monitor, so it can be reflected back in the monitor in a mirror. So I'll just reset these features. So that's gone back to default. And then press menu to hide the menu once more. Okay, so the last thing I'd like to show you is just fitting on all the additional extra parts included with the 668. When you buy direct from Lilliput UK, these parts come as standard, so you don't need to worry about buying them separately. As I mentioned before, the HDMI cable that's supplied is an HDMI to mini HDMI cable. This is applied as standard with all 668s purchased from Lilliput UK. For the sake of this example, we've had to use a regular sized HDMI cable. Fitting the sun hood is very easy. It just clips on like so, and it's great for outdoor use. So there are alternatives available on the market, but this one is supplied as standard and it does a very good job. The next additional feature is the inclusive shoe mount adapter. From here you can see it's a ball and socket, so you get a lot of flexibility as to how the monitor is positioned. You can, by tightening this here, means that this will stop from moving, this prevents the ball from moving. And then using the 1/4" British Standard width thread, just screw this into the bottom of the monitor, and there you have it. And finally, this shoe mount adapter on the bottom, this square plate, if you slide this onto the top of your camera, and then just tighten this nut here, it will stand securely on top of your camera. And then finally, the last feature. This feature isn't included as standard. You do need to buy it separately, but it's the external battery. The external battery, again, simply charges by using. You can use the same mains power adapter from the monitor. Notice how the monitor stayed on because it's now running off the internal battery. Just plug this in there and it'll charge it. Using the same power adapter that comes with the monitor, you can charge the battery. And then give this maybe a night's work, charge it overnight, and by the morning it'll be fully charged, and you'll get around about 6 to 8 hours of use out of it. And it can be used with any Lilliput monitor because they use the same standard DC 12V input. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the technical screen specifications of this Lilliput 668GL. First and foremost, the Lilliput 668GL features an LED backlight. This means importantly means it's got low power consumption, allowing for longer battery life, but also high brightness and high contrast ratio. It has a 450 candela per meter square brightness and 500:1 contrast ratio, which is incredibly competitive for a monitor of this size. The resolution, the native resolution of this monitor, is 800 by 480 pixels. However, unique to the 668GL, it can handle and scale a video from 1920 by 1080 footage onto this monitor. So if you're, for example, taking your high definition footage from your camera and you want to use this as a field monitor, you'll still get the same very sharp, high quality pure digital picture. It also features a matte LCD, so it allows for very low reflection. This is particularly useful for customers using the monitor outdoors, or who need very accurate picture and colour balance. And finally, it has a superior viewing angle compared with the monitors of this type. It has a 130-degree viewing angle, so from virtually any angle you look at the monitor, it'll never be distorted. This feature is useful for, again, pro video customers using the monitor on the field. So no matter where somebody's standing, they can always see the picture as it was meant to be seen without being distorted. I mean, if you'd like a full specification of the 668GL, just visit lilliputuk.com and and under monitors, search for 668GL, and you'll be able to find a full detailed specification of the LCD there, and also LCD panel datasheets and lots of other information related to the screen itself, as this feature is so important to all our customers.